Good morning. Oh, so we can do better than that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I know that this is early for a lot of you. For those of you that are based in Toronto, your commute was a little bit shorter than mine. I actually came from Brampton this morning, so it's been a long day thus far. So just to kind of tell you a little bit about myself, I think that it first starts with, my father. My father's an immigrant. He's an immigrant from San Fernando, Trinidad, and he moved to the United States a very long time ago. So with my father's journey of coming to the U.S., joining the U.S. military, serving his new country for 26 years, where he also met my mother, who was also in the Army, is when my story initially started. So I feel like for a lot of individuals who go to schools like Princeton University, they go to what I'll call like the top schools in places like Canada, like UCC. They go to Exeter. They go to Deerfield. I'm from a high school called Pine Forest High School in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Who here has heard of Fayetteville, North Carolina? Please raise your hand. Wow, okay, that's awesome. So when I applied to Princeton University back in 2002, there were 0 graduates from my high school to ever attend Princeton. I was the first in my city. When I goes back to looking at my application process and what did I do, I had to look at the beginning of many people didn't even think that was a school that should be on my radar. When I was going through the application process, I was looking at schools at like NC State, UNC Chapel Hill. I never dreamed of going to an institution like Princeton University. What really stood out for me was a government program called Educational Talent Search, which is a federally funded program for students that are first-generation students. So with that program, they actually paid for my application to Princeton University, to UPenn Wharton, and to Duke University. If it wasn't for that government support, I would have never applied. So that kind of gives you a foundation of my background. At the time I applied to Princeton, neither of my parents had attended college. So it was a brand new experience to go to a place like Princeton University. One of the things, as a Princeton University graduate that I like to kind of share is we're not just looking at your students for their grades. Even though your grades are most important in terms of what's your GPA in high school, what are your standardized test scores, I think what they're really looking for is, are you genuine? Are you genuine? We have a lot of students and I'm an interviewer in the past, I interviewed tons of students since graduating in 2006. I can tell quickly they're just putting stuff on a resume. They are in all the sports, all the activities, all the community service. And I think those things stare out like a glaring thumb of, this is not your passion, this is not what you love to do. One of the things I loved when I graduated from, Princeton University is I received a fellowship to go back to my hometown to work with young people. This was funded by the class of 1956. So I went back to my community and partnered with the superintendent of the school system, Dr. Harrison. And I actually worked with students for a year from my high school, my middle school, another middle school and elementary school, helping to prepare them for college. And this was probably the best thing I've done in my life thus far. We partnered with the Princeton Review, Kaplan, various other test prep companies in our community, the North Carolina House of Representatives, Duke Business School, to come and improve the lives of these students, several of which ended up going on to engineering. One student sticks out to me. She was an immigrant from Mexico, and she ended up becoming an engineer at NC State University. So this is like a government, kind of like a public program. So from those experiences, after going to Princeton, after graduating, I knew I wanted to get into politics in North Carolina. Clearly my path has definitely changed. Moved to Canada with my wife. But going back to that experience, I know I want to have a legal background. So I graduated from Duke University School of Law and worked in the education sector, both in the United States and in Canada. Since moving to Canada, I decided to expand what I've been doing to not just impact students through my church, I'm a member of my youth ministry, but also students around the globe. So I created an organization called Global Trailblazers Today. We have about 200 consultants worldwide. We have consultants, vast majority are based in the Northeast United States, but also based in South Africa, Ghana, Thailand, China, Hong Kong. And we work with students all over the globe that are looking to attend elite universities. One of the things I love about this program is that we work with students that have the ability to pay. We also provide volunteer services for students that can't pay. And I think that's one of the things I really love is we essentially have an army to work with students around the globe. One thing I like to mention, kind of an early plug, There's an organization based here in Toronto called the Canadian Association of Urban Financial Professionals. We're hosting a free college fair for students, especially diverse students who are interested in finance. So if any of the students in your high school are interested in this sector, please let me know. We're going to be having support from TD Bank, RBC, BMO, CIBC. And we'll be introducing students to finance and the college application process. I just want to say that, working with young people is a passion. I know for each one of you, you love what you do, but I feel that at the end of the day, if you didn't love what you do something else. I think to work with students is a privilege and an honor, and I look forward to having a chance to speak to each of you. Thank you.